What's up? My name is Watu, and you guys are watching In the Rough. I get like 3 more of those. What's up? My name is Watu, and you guys are watching In the Rough. No. Take 9. Come on, let's get on to the next one here. What's up? My name is Watu, and you guys are watching In the Rough. That was the one. That was the one. I'm a producer. I'm a graphic designer. I'm a creative. I'm an entrepreneur, all the labels. And I know that what you put inside of your work reflects who you are. If you work hard, your work will show. I mean, I feel like just the idea of the show In the Rough is talking about and just highlighting not having it all, highlighting, the beauty before the display. We all are trying to display the best. It's kind of like social media, Instagram, whatever. We're all trying to display and show the best of what we want to show about life, what we think about life. When in reality, it's all the shit in between that made that even beautiful. And that's the whole point, when we were creating this, is just making sure that we can talk about that part. How many times have somebody walked past your art and you might have just gotten rubbed wrong because either they didn't give you the reaction or you're forced constantly as an artist to undervalue yourself. And it's not until you find that value in yourself that you realize the rough is beauty just as much as that final product is. All the ugly, weird shit that goes on in between, all the mistakes, all the cut takes, that's awesome. The greatest obstacle that I had to overcome as a creative was and still is myself. I feel like you never get over that, but the people who excel the best are the ones who internally work on themselves and can overcome that, because it's very easy to put the blame on external forces and be like, oh, she or they or this business, this engineer, or not this record label or that girl or this guy, someone did me wrong. But at the end of the day, a lot of that shit's out of your control. And it's really the stuff that you do control and how well you can control it that makes you great. And, if I look at playing the guitar, it's how much do I practice? How much am I willing to get over learning new scales and modes and applying them to make new music that sounds different, that's pushing the regular shit that's out, or what people are used to. If I look at graphic design, how well can I overcome learning Photoshop? If it's whatever, if it's being an engineer, how well can you learn Pro Tools? How disciplined am I? Like I said, it's easy to place blame, but I be first to admit that, you gotta be real with yourself. When you're bullshitting sometimes, when you got a song you want to put out or a project due, and you in the house playing the game, or you cool and you doing whatever. And in those times you think about damn, I could be, it's only when you hear somebody doing what you want to do or what you do and you're like, damn, I'm over here fucking around. I got to get to it. You should be doing it. So I think I've just been in my way more than anything ever was or anything can be. I don't think, and I could be wrong, but I don't think there's a force outside of me that can stop me or stop what my purpose is. And death is not an option. I don't think that because you die, things stop. That's not what isolation is, So it's like, I know it's me, and I know in order to be great, in order to get to the places that my dreams show me, that I know is waiting for me, it's on me. How, put the accountability into yourself to say, all right, the opportunity is waiting on me. I'm not waiting for a handout. I'm going to come, set up, and make it happen. So, yeah. This is the fun question, image, because, of course, the first thing people see when they look at me is what? Locks. And the first thing you think is, Jamaican, you think Rasta, and you think all these things. Or, it's whatever. And I'm always at the emotional discretion of another person's imagination. And the same goes with music. It's like, it can be, let me not sit here and lie, it can be a benefit. Like how we always say, you can fake it till you make it. I don't fake shit, but sometimes you can't help what people perceive about you. And sometimes looking how I look has been a benefit. People just assume things, and it's like, you know what? I can correct you, but I'm gonna let you be great and just get what the fuck I want right now. And then there's those times where it hurts you, and it don't, it doesn't serve you well. And you're just like, this motherfucker just disrespected me. My image is both a benefit and the only deterrent I can really think of in this moment without trying to lie is people just assuming shit about you. You can't stop people from assuming shit. Everyone just thinks what they want. Most people haven't seen locks like this outside of Jamaica or some shit. People think that Rastas are the only people who have locks like this. It's hair. But people will see me and probably be like, oh, he does something creative. I don't know what, but you can definitely look in somebody's eyes and see when they're prejudging you. I do think as a creative, you have more of an excuse to look a certain way. But when I used to work in IT, my hair was shorter than this and it was sticking straight up, and it's different what you have to deal with. It's different, that culture's, you know what I'm saying, switch going from Fort Washington, then going to Tyson's Corner and being around people who you know, like, you can tell in your heart of hearts, this motherfucker's looking at me like, what is that? And they're wondering how you are what they are. You know, and like I said, you're always at the discretion of somebody else's, their imagination. But what I will say is, wholeheartedly, with all due respect, I don't care what anybody thinks about me. And if my image gets in the way of what someone liking what I'm doing or whatever, like, I'm not in control of that, you know? I really don't care. And I know what I'm doing is bigger than the image, and it's bigger than anybody else's, you know, insecurity. You can always wonder, and it's like, I'm like an asshole with it. It's like, you know, you can give somebody advice, and I'll be kind of iffy about giving people advice, because it's like, you can give somebody advice, but it's like, are they going to listen? And the second I hear that, I hear somebody else saying, well, it's not your job to wonder if they're going to listen or not. Just give it to them. And it's just like, I don't really, as much as I know, I don't like teaching. But if I could tell you anything, like, I tell you like this. It's not about what anybody else is doing or have going on, you know. As long as you're doing what you're doing because you love it and it makes you happy on the inside, you get that bubbly feeling like you want to go tell somebody, you know what I'm saying? And granted, we all rush to show somebody something, and they kind of sometimes shit on our dreams. And they, you know, it can fuck you up. It can. I feel like I've lived through a lot of things that people told me that I wouldn't be able to. I've made it through places that people told me I wouldn't be able to make it. And then when you do that so many times, you just look like, damn, what's really impossible? And then you look at the people who told you when you're at the summit and they're still at the bottom of the mountain where they was when they began to tell you that you couldn't make it to the top, like, look at you. You know? You have to, one, know your value. Let's start that off. Like, we had like a number like, bing. One, know your value. Don't be afraid to tell somebody a price that you feel you deserve, but make sure that when you tell them this price, that it's not outside of what your abilities can do. I feel like what a lot of people do as creatives is undersell themselves because of what the market, which is, you know, the people who are buying shit, consumers, is demanding of what they want. And you subjugate yourself to this low-ass standard of a little bit of money. You're like, man, and then, you know what I'm saying, you go in and you do this job, and midway through the job, you're like, this shit goes hard. And all I did was charge this person X amount of money. And then now you're like, you know, you're mad at shit. You know, we all do it. But you have to know your value, and that means that you have to be transparent enough to understand what value, define value for yourself. Because as much as you can give value away, people can try to take value from you. There's people who are where you want to go, who you look up to, and you think, oh, you want to give this person all your burdens because you think they can come help take you out wherever you are. That eagerness gets taken advantage of real easily. People look at that mindset. There's people who are just not creative at all, but they're in the creative industry. They're in the media, they're in the industry of arts, and they don't have a creative bone in their body. Nothing about them jiggles or wiggles or waves or nothing. These motherfuckers are about as stagnant as a board. But they do business with everybody else who's booming. And because they're this middleman, they're paying attention to the things that the creative is not. So, know your value. 2, do your own damn thing, but be realistic. And I obviously draw that from myself. When I look at back in like 2015, you know, when we used to be at Muza House, you know what I'm saying, with Malik the drummer, you know what I'm saying, Drew Davey, the squad, like, we was on New York Ave doing it out there, hustling, like, every Saturday, every weekend. Everybody was, whatever you did, we doing live paintings, and we performing that same night. Like, we doing everybody was there pushing their talent. And when you look at back then, from when I feel like I started recording music and taking my business, my life seriously with music, I remember I used to be in places and people would be watching fucking Derrick Rose dunk on niggas. And I'm sitting here, you know, I'm sitting here, I could be sitting here just, niggas don't care, you could be, now see, now when you do that, you do the rough shit, niggas are watching. They be there to make memes and shit out you. Like, but that would be a funny meme. But you can be sitting there just... Anyway, you could be doing some shit just like this, and these motherfuckers be watching whatever. And in that moment, I could admit that, I always push through the performance. I'm not gonna stop singing, but it made me be like, all right, cool. Do I suck? Or is Derrick Rose just more relevant right now? Or am I just not giving people what they want? You know what I'm saying? You think about it, but I've always made music and stayed to Watu music. My vibe of music. I've always stayed to, you know what I'm saying, rhythm and percussion and whatever you want to call it, like just thinking outside the box and pushing the bounds. I've stuck to that to the point to where it worked for me, so where it ain't hard. Like I'm making money to be me. And before it's like, you know, you're trying to show people who you are, and if you're trying to, you know what I'm saying, get rich off another nigga validation, you broke your whole life. That's one for you. It's fun. I'm still growing, but it's way more confidence, it's way more understanding, and I know who I am, and I'm not. I don't wobble. I don't wave when somebody else, you know, shoot their shit at me. I feel like instead of being specific, I will always try to point somebody in the direction that has the biggest yield for them. It's like, hey, I could tell you to become a better professional, but you trusting yourself will lead you to that position. I could tell you to, you know, put time into whatever, or I could tell you, hey, go sign up to this here, go do this opportunity. But if you work on yourself, it's like, it inflates a compass inside you that directs you. You can walk with your eyes closed, and you just always in the right place at the right time because you're pouring into the right cup and not, you know what I'm saying, your cup. You're pouring into the cup, not your cup. I made sure I just put value. You know, I'm not rushing to be into no music industry. I'm not rushing to be into no gallery, nothing. I know who I am. I can make whatever, whenever. I think the most important thing is the information and knowledge, and pairing that with the great talent you have, because we all are talented. We all can do shit, but you know, how much of what you can do are you pairing with what you know? And how much are you actually being real with yourself that you don't know some shit, you know? So for me personally, I just make sure that I've just stayed on top of whatever's happening in the industries that I'm a part of, you know? I know the difference between publishing and distribution. I hope, just as a musician, other people are not out here lying to themselves. Like, know what it is and understand how to navigate your career or navigate, you know what I'm saying? How can you make goals and you don't know where you're going? In the middle of the ocean, saying I'm about to go there. You don't know where land is. You just playing and shit, doing what people are doing, you know? I feel like a lot of artist frustration comes from, you know, inefficiency and the lack of acknowledgement when you're being inefficient. You know, if you can sit, you gotta know how to do it right in order to do it. If you don't know how to do it, you be sitting there doing the wrong shit for forever, and then you're just mad at the process. You're not, and you think it's, the whatever. It's like, no, there are real issues there, but again, a lot of issues from within. So I know since 2015 and since I started, things that I know that I've added to myself is, one, a publishing company. Do your own publishing. I feel like that's a gem. I feel like you could just say that and hopefully someone just looks into it. It's not something that you got to keep explaining to somebody. And then I just kept refining myself to understand, you know, all the ways I can make money from what I'm doing. You know, you just go out there as an artist and you just think you're just going to do one thing. I'm going to stand on the side of the road and do it. It's like, yeah, things can come your way and you are making an opportunity, but in the world that we live in, there's so many ways that you can attack this. You don't gotta, you know what I'm saying, do it one way. Just do it for yourself and do it the right way. So, you know, yeah, now I've been adding businesses. I've been building, learning. You know, when I'm doing shit, if I'm playing the guitar, if I'm making beats, if I'm networking, I'm making sure that yesterday ain't better than today. Like, sometimes I may not be able to top myself, but I make sure that I'm always working on myself and building off of my last success. Yes. I was raised in what I think you would call like an ideal family, right? 2 parents, siblings. But, you know, my upbringing is, one, the DMV. It's like, I feel like people don't, it's like, it's the DMV. It's like, that's a big influence as far as like who I am. You know, I don't think I go a day without cooking somebody. find a nigga up is second nature to me. It's kind of like it just gets instilled into you at a young age. So it's just like, there's things that just come with the territory. But just my personal upbringing, like me being in a house, I have a father who's in the Nation of Islam, or who was in the Nation of Islam, and I had a mother who was raised Christian. And then I have books in my house. We had a big bookshelf that has all these, you know, books on everything from real shit to fake shit, you know, fiction, nonfiction, whatever. And I read everything. I read the subjective, the objective, the lies, the truth. I read everything. And I feel like when you do that, it makes it hard to deny reality, because you kind of start knowing what real shit is, and then you start seeing how people disassociate shit. You know, I'm gonna tie it back to music, but in the music industry, you know what I'm saying, as an artist, it's the same thing. You know, people disassociate and shit, but in what I'm doing, it's my upbringing plays a big role in it. Some of my earliest memories is my mom teaching me how to drop a needle, like on like a 78 or a 45 or whatever. And listening to those old records like Smokey Robinson, you know what I'm saying, Gregory Isaacs, or Shaka Khan, you know what I'm saying, Gladys Knight and the Pips, you know what I'm saying, the Temptations, whomever, like we had endless. My mom has the most ridiculous album collection, and I'm willing to like, the regular, like you're not like some nigga who just out here collecting records. Compare your mom's record collection with my mom has endless records, but listening to all that shit and then growing up and making music, you know, you can say that you're original, but you're always pulling from that stuff. You know, it plays a big role, and I feel like I had a fair chance to have a broad upbringing as far as like music, and I wasn't forced to listen to one thing. I listened to everything, but I definitely listened to all the black greats, for sure. But I listened to everything, you know, just everything, white or black, it didn't matter. Just listen. And now that I'm an adult, you know, in the music industry, making music, when I'm putting out stuff, I see the ways that people bite off shit, and it's usually through samples, and it's like, man, but these people, you can sample music, but that ain't music theory. That's you taking a piece of the pie. I'm trying to make the recipe. I'm trying to redo the shit. All my runs, shit I say, you know, sometimes the lingo. My upbringing was a lot of good music, but like I said, a lot of double-sided religious stuff that me going to the what's those things that fucking I was about to say Shaka Khan, Farrakhan, you know what I'm saying, had in DC. All the Million Man marches, I went to the ones in the 90s and like in the 2000s, like the early ones. It was like first time having the bean pie, all that shit. I used to have photos of Farrakhan and Muhammad Ali and Joe Louis and all these people, Martin Luther King, like big posters, Malcolm X. Like as I talk, I can see it. And I used to read these posters alongside the books. And it's like, from hearing that stuff and then just going to the Million Man March, and just not just Farrakhan, like it's not about, but just being around that mindset of people who aren't with the shits, it inevitably made a mark on me to it. Like I said, I can't deny certain reality. I learned the hard way that when you just come out trying to make rebel music and just talk hard shit and just whatever you think that you about to say, the consumers is not with it. And it's not saying don't do it, do what you love, yeah, but it's like people are less likely, depending on what that's a market for it, people are less likely to buy into that shit. I had to start going back to my mom's music and making like love shit, making world shit, people shit that just a kid can sing, anyone can relate to. Because the stuff that I know that I'm talking about, that I'm eager to put in the music, is less acceptable, and it just doesn't translate as well, you know. And it's like, I don't want to limit myself, but I also know that people are comfortable where they are. And you can't just start talking about shit in the government or shit in world history in the music. You got to put that thing in a way where it's like pumpkin pie, sweet potato pie. But just make this shit like apple pie or something. You gotta make it deliverable, because just hitting people with the truth, it just is, I've learned it's not just for me, hasn't been the best way to break into, you know, getting new fans and stuff. You know, that's the big thing. It's like first of all, how many people in corporate America or just in 9-to-5 life who are creatives, every year, are you noticing, are leaving that shit behind to go do what they love. I'm not promoting instability or being irresponsible, and I'm not saying that people are being unstable, irresponsible. I'm for people doing what they feel is right for them, as long as it's not harmful to anybody else, right? Biggest thing that still strikes me to this day was being in a place where it's like, I've already surpassed this mentally. Like, not like I think I surpassed it, not like I feel like I know I shouldn't be here, and I'm here excelling, and I'm looking at what my exhalation, if that's the word, is being valued at, and being there every day and wanting to just be home and painting. That sounds so hippie-ish or whatever, but fuck anybody who think like that. But I do. I want to go home. I want to go create. I want to go make beats. I want to go record. I want to go do me. I do not want to be there, and that's the life that's pushed on us. And I had a good taste of it for about 2.5, almost 3 years. And it just it confirmed. It's like everybody has an excuse for what they do, right? But just being there and just seeing what that corporate life is really about, it was just like on the other end of the spectrum of who I am. And once I left, I was like, I'm never doing that shit again. I did. About maybe like a year later, I needed some bread, like my car noticed something was due, and then I was doing it, and I was ITing it up, and then it was like, fuck this shit. I realized, woke up one day, and just stopped. I stopped responding. Like, niggas hit me up like, yo, where you at? Like, please, like, emailing me like, can you at least say something? I just woke up one day and looked at the chat, and I was like, you know what? Enough of this shit. I didn't say nothing to nobody. Just like, enough of this shit. Like, I'm not about to sit here and lie to myself. People made it seem like doing that type of work is the only option. I'm gonna die one day, and I live by that, ironically. And it's like, my life source is so much better used breaking the ground for what someone told me I couldn't do. Before I actually started getting out to Tyson's and doing all this IT shit, I remember motherfuckers trying to ask me to cut my hair. The people at my school asking me, cut your hair. Or asking you, hey, Watu, niggas wait till the end of the semester. I'm about to go off on an internship. And they wait till the end of the semester to ask me, so what is it? What's it with the locks? Is it like religion or... all these niggas got their little posh way of trying to get to it. And it's like, no, I hit them with this culture. And they're like, but what culture? And it's just like, right there, it just shows you why the fuck I don't want to be a part of this shit. Because you need a name for me to validate, and my nature was all it was. Motherfucker, I am. I can do what I want. This is my hair. You're so disturbed by somebody who looks normal. So disturbed, and it highlights something more so inside of you, and you're forcing me to do it. I'm some motherfucker, I got better grades. I literally had better grades than ever. This was the first time in life I've ever had better grades than anybody in in my class. But that was the first time in life that I knew, like, I had straight A's. And granted, I only had like 3-4 classes, but nigga, that's all I needed to get to where I was going. And I had A's in all of them. And this is for anybody who like, well, that's not Dickie, that's not that big, that's not a... Nigga, listen, this is technical knowledge. I don't give a fuck if you learn this shit from Yale or from the junior college around your way. It's math, and that shit don't change from school to school. You know what I'm saying? The access to resources, dude, that's another conversation for another episode. But, that shit burnt me because it's like, damn, I got straight A's. I was late probably one time. I did everything that I was asked to do in the corporate world, and I was still met with, you still got to just do this one last thing for me. It's like, cause see, we know, we get it, wherever, you're cultural, but see, where you're going, they don't respect that, and I still went and I did it. And yeah, I had to boss a couple white people. I had to let motherfuckers know, listen, this shit that y'all used to, it ain't finna fly with me, and I ain't gonna sit here and disrespect you, but that's why I had to leave. It's all that hierarchy and just, it's like, bro, this shit wouldn't fly in 7-Eleven. So all this vice president shit can go up, like, you're lying to yourself. So all that put together is just like, I'm better than this. And my life source and energy is better put in a place where it has a chance of living, past me. I'd much rather go break the ground and make a way for my kids who have to come after me instead of, I can't imagine forcing my kid to go do that. It's just like, I know the talent I have, and I'm now making money off of, being consistent and doing what I'm doing, but I know now there's no way I would let my kids or family, I'll be real with them, but I also want them to know that, hey, there's nothing in this world, not even colonialism, can stop you from being great. This shit, the universe don't know that. The universe doesn't know structure in the sense of how these niggas is running law. It's very organic. There is no 3.0, it's 3.14 or 3.14 pi, whatever the fuck it was. That was a math reference. The whole point of saying perfect isn't exact. You dig what I'm saying? That's the whole point of what In the Rough is. You know what I'm saying? It's beautiful, and we don't have to wait for someone to validate us. We don't have to wait for someone to appreciate who we are. We're better off creating that bridge and making sure that all our people can get over than sitting here trying to ask a nigga to build a bridge for us. I played the guitar until I learned how to make beats, and everybody who made beats became irrelevant because I focus on what I'm doing. I know it's like, unless you can do what I'm doing better than me, I can do it. And I don't say that to be arrogant. It's just such a, you know how it is when you go so long in your life denying yourself and being denied. That's double denial. Double down on the no you're not. No you can't. Double down on the no you won't. And then that emotion you feel when you make it past motherfuckers trying to double down on you. It's hard to be humble, but the goal is just to pass the message along to somebody else. Is just like, don't stop. That's so cliche, but just put value into yourself and don't stop, because that's the cool thing about it. Once you know that can't shit stop you, where you go from there, you know? My car ain't got no reverse in the shits, you know, unless I make this shit and put it there. We only try and go in one direction, you know. You're constantly put in a situation where you have to choose between stability, you know what I'm saying? And nature don't notice races as stability, but I got to choose between making it in another nigga's system and doing what I like outrightly know is right for me. Not like what I feel, what I know, what I've proven to be right. Like when I was 5, I was drawing Dragon Ball Z, and I didn't know that I'd be sitting here selling beats and, you know what I'm saying, selling records and owning companies, and you can, because my parents wasn't doing this shit, so you don't come from that. You don't think about that. But once you make it, you just, and I'm not saying I'm a millionaire or nothing, I'm just saying, but once you you don't have to be a millionaire. Once you overcome what you've been told, that's invaluable, you know? It's a thing to be creative and live on that, you know? I feel like if I died today, and I always talk about death, and I'm not casting my death out there, but it's just like death is where we're going, and it's not a bad thing in certain situations. But I know I would not leave this planet and allow anybody else to direct my path. You know what I'm saying? Just pedaling my legs and telling me where I can and can't go when I know I can. And the only thing that's stopping me is a motherfucker's imagination. When this is the only imagination that matters. You know? I love this shit, you know? It's fun. And this is the first of many episodes of In the Rough, a show that talks about all the things in between where we try to, you know, put out as final product squeaky clean. It's so much real shit that happens in between that's beautiful, you know, so there's gonna be more of this, so stay tuned.